Lo menischem parshas atem nitzavim leklolos. Why does the Torah juxtapose atem nitzavim to kisavo, which are the curses? The Fishashoma Yisrael mea klolos choseshtayim. Klal Yisrael heard 100 curses minus 2. Chutz mimem tesh bars toras kohanim. Besides the 49 in Vayikra and V'chukosai, huriku pneim, they became totally, huriku means they became like jaundiced. V'omrim yuchal lamod be'elu, is it possible to survive them? Such serious consequences. Hizchul Moshe lefaisom, Moshe began appeasing them. Atim Nitzavim-Vayeilech, harbi chastem lemokom. Many times you angered Hashem. V'lo osa itchem kloyo, He did not consume you. V're'atem kayom lefonov, and you see that you exist before Him. Factually, it's a little bit of like a tightrope here. Why? I mean, if you have the klolos, what's the value of the klolos? The value of klolos is to know that if you cross the line, there's going to be a consequence. So as a result of this, they're overwhelmed. They're terrified. They said, how are we going to survive it? So Moshe says, but you realize in the past you've angered Him, and you see you're here. He didn't consume you. But if that is the case, but according to the Tochacha, you should not be here. So what's the answer? You see, you have a law on the books, which is not actually implemented. Because if it would be implemented, there should be kloyo. So how do we understand it? Manavshach. When it's, we have the Tocha. The Tocha says that if you do A, B, C, there's the Tocha. So they have what to be concerned about. We're not going to survive it. Moshe said, but you see, you angered Him and you did survive it. So what's the answer? So how do you reconcile that with the Tocha? David, you had a question. So what do you say?
Hashem delays the Tocha, so to speak, the chance of truth. Right? He delays it. If it was immediate, it's one thing. But because He delays it, you get choice. You're going to be in this pit, or you're going to go someplace else and do truth. It turns out the threat is not a threat.
It's not a threat. But factually, there was a reaction. There was a reaction. So what do we see? I think what he's saying, of course, we're talking about this rachmim. The reason why the Tocha is not implemented is because there's rachmim. But in the Midbar, there were many times there was din. But factually, no, there was din. They crossed the line. They complained immediately. There was a reaction, immediate. But the reaction, but even within din, you see there's rachmim. Because you could have been, when He sent the vipers, and they started to die, right? When they complained in the 40th year, when they complained about the mun, so Hashem sends the vipers. They're being bitten, they're dying. Hashem says to Moshe, make this copper snake, put it on a pole. Whoever looks at it, various levels, they'll be healed. Okay? So there's a way out. See, factually, if you don't come around, once the din is implemented, and you don't understand where you're at, then it's over. Then it will seal your fate. I mean, does anybody really, why does a person do the wrong thing? Because he doesn't think it's that wrong. So when do you appreciate it's wrong? When you see its consequence. Person eats something which he has an allergic reaction to it. Why initially does he eat it? He knows he believes for some reason this time he's not going to have that. He doesn't remember to what degree what agony was in the past. But when he has the agony, excruciating pain, he says, I'm not going to make this mistake again. Right? Because when you have the pain, what about a person, after he's being punished, he still doesn't recognize it? Then he will be destroyed. So that's what he's saying. So there is rachmin and din. Factually, Hashem doesn't want to destroy you. What is the value of the punishment? The punishment is that if you come to understand the wrong you did, then it stops at that moment. That is rachmim within din. Person commits a crime, he has to be put to death. You could do tshuva from today forever, he's going to be put to death. But that's not Hashem's din. Hashem's din is within din. If you do tshuva, there's rachmim. That's what Moshe Rabbeinu was saying to them. As bad as it is, but you can always extricate yourself from that state. It never came to kloya, to total extinction, annihilation. I think that's the way you have to understand it. Of course, there's a midget, there's a Yalkut. The Yalkut says that regarding other nations, there's no nation that God punished more than once. Once he started to punish them, he destroyed them. Why? So the Medrash says, because when he punished them, they became enraged, and they defied him even to a greater degree. So if that's the case, you're going to be destroyed. But Klal Yisrael, when he punishes them, they recognize the wrong and they do tshuva. That's the difference between Klal Yisrael and the Umas Olam. Therefore, in history, no nation has been punished more than once. Once the punishing process began, they were totally annihilated. Klal Yisrael is not the case, because when he punishes us, we realize the wrong and we do tshuva. But that itself, that's rachman b'din, right? That's mercy with injustice.
Other nations will get punished more than once?
No, when he begins punishing them, they don't, because they don't recognize the wrong and they keep defying him to a greater degree. That's why ultimately he destroys them totally. Okay. Atem nitzavim hayom harbi chastem lamokim v'lo ositchem chloyo v'ratem kayom lefonov hayom kayom hazeh shukayim v'u mafilu meir. As God brings darkness and brings light, kach heir lochem chen osid lo lochem v'aklos v'yisur mekayim eschem. The curses and the suffering, that's what maintains you. U'mitzivin eschem lefonov v'avaparsha shel mailo mizu piyusim hem atem reisem davrachim atem titzovim lefisha Yisrael yotzim miparnes leparnes. Clouds are being transferred from one leader to another, one overseer to another. Moshe Yeshua lefichach oso matzevo kedei lezarzom. V'chenos Yeshua, he says, today you stand as this, understanding your predicament now. I'm taking leave of you to give you over to someone else. Take responsibility. Chenos Yeshua, chen Shmuel isyatzu v'shof de'etzchem sheyotzim yod v'nichzu liyodo shel Shaul. Okay. It's both. The Gemara says that. Mis tzadikim is what? It's mechaper kiyom kippurim. It's mechaper what? Like paraduma. The very like destruction of Beis Hamikdash. The many things. What? It's a negative, but it's a person has an illness, and it cost him $10,000 a dose of medication, but he's going to recover. So you're going to recover, but it's going to cost you dearly. Same thing. You lose gedoli, you saw tzadikim. The cost is great, but factually we survive because of that. Otherwise we wouldn't survive. Okay. V'lo idchem levadchem anochi kores es abris hazos. Not only with you am I entering into this covenant, this olazos and this oath. Ki es asher yeshno po imonu omid hayom. With those who stand here with us today, lifnei Hashem Elokeinu v'es asher inenu po imon hayom. So Rashi says, v'es asher inenu po v'afim doros ha'osidim lios. So over here, there's a Sifs Chachamim. When it says I'm entering into the bris, is it going on the people who passed away, or the future generations which haven't yet been born? See, he says the Sifs Chachamim. We're speaking those who are no longer here. This bris, I mean, first and logically, it doesn't make any sense. I mean, if you're entering into a new covenant, how could it be with? It's the future. It can't be the past. The Reksiv Atem Nitzavim-Vayeilech Kulchem V'od Yesh Loma Ein Shaykh Lichros Bris Misha Eino Po Dilma Im Hoye Bo Min Aderech Hoye Po Lo Hoye Makabel Bris. Maybe if he'd be here, he'd reject the bris. So what about the future? Avol Likoyel Hasidim Lios, but it's going on the future. Osi Shabbat Afim Hagufim Lohoyu Sham, although their bodies weren't there, Avon Neshama Soyu Sham V'Kiblu Abris, and they accepted the bris. It seems like a weak argument. I mean, simply is if the past is not relevant any longer, they're no longer here. That's simple. V'Od Yishal Ki Bro Karid Avuhu V'Kev She'Ovos Kiblu V'Abonim Habonim Achreim Gam Ken B'Chlal Abris. We see a child as an extension of the parent. So when they accept it, their acceptance binds even the future generations.
Correct. The future generations would say, I don't want it. I agree with it. I can see Hashem being down, Hashem's side being down, instead of later physically or all your descendants. But the other half of it, in theory,
No. That was a different thing. No. His concern was they'll be destroyed. As the Dor Mabul was destroyed, maybe if my children should fail, they'll be destroyed. That was what he was worried about. Yeah, but here's it's binding. Why should it be binding if we weren't there? That's the question. So one answer is the neshamas were there. The other answer, he says, even the neshamas weren't there. Brokar davur, that a child is an extension of the father, so the father's commitment binds the child. Even the child wasn't there. You represent your future, because your future is an extension of you. So therefore what? If you make a decision today, your son exists. Could you bind your son to something he doesn't want to be bound to? You can't. So why over here could you bind them? You have to understand. No, they're entering. What does mean b'chlal abris? That means they're bound. They're bound by the covenant. No. Somebody says today, I wasn't interested. I'm opposed to what they did thousands of years ago. It's irrelevant what you say. You're a Jew, you're bound to whatever Jews are bound to. But I wasn't there. It's irrelevant where you were there.
maybe in those days it was different. Maybe in those days they actually did feel that way. The father made a commitment.
But what about us today? It's irrelevant with those days. So good, so we're opposed to it. Right? So if you say the neshamas were there, okay. But again, what about the neshama being there? Do you have a choice? A neshama that has bechira. They themselves, you enter into a covenant, okay, you have a choice to enter or not to enter. But if you're not there, you're not in the physical state where you can make a choice, right? So what do you mean? So what are you going to say? Because if the neshama is there, the neshama sees clearly, and the neshama understands it's in its best interest, right? Why does a person reject something, even though it's in his best interest? It's a mistake. It's a mistake. So if the neshama is there, it has absolute clarity. It doesn't make that mistake. So if every Jew that will ever exist was there, that means every one of us had that state of clarity. Let's say a person makes a commitment, and later he wants to change his mind, and you already entered into you're bound by the commitment. You're bound already. Well, after thinking about it, it's not so clear to me anymore. It's irrelevant. But at that time it was clear. You entered. You're bound. The same thing. Then we had clarity. Today you think you see it differently. It's irrelevant what you think. You see it differently today. Because when you bound yourself, you had clarity. Nobody forced you into it. You had clarity, and you wanted to enter into it. This isn't. I'm reading the Sifsei Chachamim. No, this is the simple answer is Esher She'esh Lo Po, Esher Ein Lo Po means the neshamas were there. That's the simple understanding. Then it makes it a little more difficult. So what binds us? So I would say like this. Let's say we have a concept known as majority. Klal Yisrael accepts something and the minority doesn't accept it. It doesn't make a difference. If you're part of the Jewish people, you're bound by what they accept. It's the same thing. So you'd say the future generations, irrelevant what they accept. We represent the people. And if we represent the people, that's it. We enter, so whoever is part of that people, they're bound by whatever we accept. You cannot be opposed to it. No, not the majority. No, not the majority of the world. Jews. We are the Jewish people. The people who exist today, we represent who we are. So the future generations, we represent them. So if they're Jews because they come from us, so they're bound by us because we represent them. That's the understanding.
In a sense, that was like a hospital, the kind that you represent. They vote, whatever they vote, everybody has to follow. No, because the government can never bind a future government.
This is the way I explained. We explained that the Levim never sinned with the Chet Egel, correct? But they were impacted negatively because of what Klal Yisrael did. Because they sinned, therefore, they weren't destined to live forever, right? That special status that they achieved at Sinai, they lost it. They forfeited it. Why? Because they're part of Klal Yisrael. But we weren't involved. We were opposed to it. It's irrelevant what you were. Being part of the whole is diminished. You're part of the whole. You're also diminished. Being part of the whole. That's the concept of Yisrael Arif, as Elder said, right? Somebody does the wrong thing, he diminishes the system. You do the right thing, you empower the system to be continued. Abound.
The fact that there's a minority or a majority doesn't preclude the idea that someone can walk down.
No. I only use majority. No, I'm just saying, just as majority represents the whole, Klal Yisrael represents the whole. Whoever exists now, we represent everybody. So it's irrelevant. You could have many more souls in the future. It doesn't make a difference.
No, I'm just saying the minority that doesn't accept.
It's irrelevant. They don't accept. You're part of the whole. You're part of the whole. You accept. You're bound by what the majority accepts. Okay, we're going to do the Mishnah Berurah.